Hello, angels. Welcome to this Humanities lesson. I hope you're all well, and I hope your family members are doing okay as well. Our unit is on the discovery of the New World and the foundation of the United States of America. This is continuing from where we left off last term, looking at Christopher Columbus and his journey to Americas. You'll be focusing on text comprehension during this unit. Comprehension strategies are steps that good readers use to make sense of the text. The instruction helps the reader become purposeful, active, engaged, and in control of their own reading comprehension, and pupils are able to understand what they read and when they do not. So comprehension teaches you to be aware of what you do understand, to identify what you don't understand, and to also use appropriate strategies to help you resolve problems when it comes to comprehension, such as questioning, using the dictionary, and also talk for learning. So for this unit, we're going to be focusing more on comprehension related tasks. So this is for Tuesday, the 28th of April, 2020. And your learning intention is to understand why Christopher Columbus was called an adventurer and an explorer. Your success criteria: to understand that Christopher Columbus is often thought of and celebrated for the discovery of America, to know that when he was young, he wanted to be a sailor, and to explain why Columbus was not a hero to everyone. So there are 3 chapters, and I'm going to read them. And at the end of each chapter, you have some questions you need to answer. So remember that you can pause this video as often as you like to read the text or to reread the text. And to also, when you're answering the questions, make sure you write in full sentences. And don't forget to write the lesson intention and the date as well on your paper before your adults take a picture and submit it to us via email. Chapter 1. A young adventurer. When Christopher Columbus was a boy, he and his younger brother loved to spend time at the dock in the Italian city of Genoa, where they lived. They watched the ships sail in and out. They watched as the sailors unloaded boxes filled with silk cloth and spices. They dreamed of being sailors too. When Christopher was 14 years old, he got a job on a ship, carrying messages from the captain to the sailors. 1 year later, he was hired as a ship's helper, and then as a sailor. His dream of adventure at sea was coming true. His brother learned to make maps, and together they hoped to sail far away. Long ago, people didn't know about all the continents and oceans. Some people thought that the earth was flat, and that if a ship sailed too far across the ocean, it would fall off the edge. But others, including Christopher, believed the earth was round like a ball. Answer the following questions. So this is where you pause the video and then you answer these 2 questions. Remember to write in full sentences. Chapter 2. Christopher has an idea. In Christopher Columbus's time, there were no refrigerators to keep food fresh. Europeans often ate food, especially meat, that was not fresh. People used spices such as cloves, pepper, cinnamon, and nutmeg to make food taste better. Many of these spices could only be found in faraway part of the world that Europeans call the Indies. Today, this part of the world is known as Asia. A voyage to the Indies and back again was long and dangerous. After sailing part of the way across seas or oceans, some people then carried goods on camels across hot, sandy deserts. Many times they were robbed or got lost or ran out of water. Christopher had an idea. If Earth was round, maybe he could sail west around the world and reach the Indies that way. The whole voyage could be made by ship across the Atlantic Ocean with no need to travel across hot, dry deserts. Many more spices and other goods could be carried on ships than on camels. Camels were called ships of the desert. Today, we know that if you sail west across the Atlantic Ocean from Europe, you reach the Americas, or North and South America. But of course, Christopher didn't know this. Long ago, many people thought there was nothing but ocean if you sailed west. Christopher needed someone to believe he could sail across the Atlantic Ocean, which is the second largest ocean on Earth. So now you can pause the video, answer the questions, or go back and listen to my reading of it, or mute the video and you can actually read the text by yourself. Chapter 3. Christopher sails west. For many, many years, Christopher planned his voyage. He also searched for someone rich enough to pay for this risky adventure. However, when he went to the King of Portugal to tell him his idea and get money for a voyage, Columbus was denied. He then asked the King of France, England, and Spain for help. They didn't help him either. Finally, in 1492, he had the chance to meet King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain. He told them about his idea of reaching the Indies by sailing west across the Atlantic Ocean. The Spanish king and queen did want to find an easier way for their ships to get to the Indies. They wanted to trade their cloth, glass, and tools for spices, silk, jewels, and gold. Spain would become rich if Christopher's plan worked. King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella decided to pay for the voyage. Now Christopher could start his great adventure. The King and Queen of Spain gave Christopher 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Each ship had a captain. Christopher Columbus was the captain of the Santa Maria. The 3 ships were small, but they were strong enough to sail across the stormy waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Columbus found sailors who wanted to go with him to the Indies. They loaded the ships with enough food and water to last a year, as well as with things they could trade. They also took firewood, cooking pots, medicines, fishing lines, swords, and guns. When everything was ready, they set off across the wide blue ocean. Now, pause the video and answer these questions. Remember, write in full sentences. Lastly, so this is what I wanted to show you. This is a history story time, courtesy of Mr. Kerbal. So thank you very much, Mr. Kerbal, for emailing this to us. This is an introduction to free history Storytime podcast, and these are stories by children for children. There are over 20 episodes already to choose from, which include The Great Fire of London, Florence Nightingale, Boudica and the Roman Conquest of Britain, The Battle of Britain, The Space Race and the Moon Landings, The Black Death, Henry VIII and his 6 wives, Animals in History, and many, many more. So this is a free podcast for you to listen to, not just during the humanities lesson, but to listen to at any time. It's story time. So you can listen to it by yourself, or you can listen to it with your adults as well and your family members, okay? It's a free resource, all right? And here is the web link to go on it. So you can see it right there. There's 2. There's a link here, and there's also a link here, okay? And this is a flyer or a poster advertising the history story time. So please check it out. It's a lovely, lovely free resource website. And I know for sure that you will enjoy the stories, okay? And we look forward to receiving your work and reading your answers to your comprehension questions. Take care.